It won't last. Look.
That's because I already did my 10,000 steps today.
Told you so.
Screw you, son. I'm going home.
And although my mind tells me that she's a messy, tacky bitch.
Today's segment is pretty much talking about pick a struggle.
You'll pick a struggle.
You have to pick a struggle.
Gotta pick a struggle, bruh.
You need to pick the goddamn struggle.
You have 3. Then that's it. It is over for you. You have to pick a struggle.
Okay, hello. There we go. I hope you guys can hear me. Okay, yeah, let me tell y'all something. I love the Clock Sisters. Okay. I love the Clock Sisters. And you know what's funny? Dorinda was at the end. She's like, no, come into my house. No. Dorinda, the one that was at the end, she calls herself a prophetess. And let me tell you something. I received a message as I did my chip in this Chipotle queso. I got a message. And I think I solved everything. Let me tell you something. And you know what's funny is I had said that this thing that I'm doing right now is we're not gonna talk about hot topics or trending topics or anything like that. But I just received a message. Let me tell you something. Oh my gosh. So I think I solved the issue when it comes to gun violence, kids being slaughtered at their school, all that stuff. I think I just solved it right here and right now. Let me tell you something. And I don't want to sound like, I do not want to sound like an old geezer. But sometimes, child, the new broom can sweep, but the old broom know where the dirt is. And I think the old broom has found the dirt. Let me tell you something. I think the way that we can solve all the foolishness that's been going on around in the world is activities. And let me tell you something. Let me say it again in case people didn't hear me. The way that we can solve everything that's going on in the world when it comes to, like, you know, the kids, people 18, 19, 20 years old, they shooting up schools and churches and grocery stores and all of that. The way that we can solve it is with activities. Let me tell you something. Let me preach to y'all. Child, go ahead and start the collection plate because I think I done figured it out. Let me tell y'all something. Let me give you a little backstory. When I used to talk to my mama, when she was alive, not recently. When my mama was alive, me and my mom used to talk about a lot of stuff. Me and my mom and I, we used to talk about a lot of stuff. When it came to like family drama and what was going on in the world, we will, simmer and talk about it. And then when she would talk to me about when my mom used to talk to me about the family drama. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm a little gassy. It's that Chipotle queso. But it's so good though. And then I got some vegan tortilla chips to go with it. It's so good. So I'm gonna take a little dip before I can finish this off. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm sorry. I'm gonna wrap it up and then I'm gonna be gone. I'm going to bed. So my mom and I, we used to talk about a lot of stuff. And then when it came to family drama, my mom would tell me the stuff that was going on. She was like, Andre, I don't know what's going on with them. I said, Mama, they got too much time on their hands. I was like, obviously. Obviously, they got too much going on. They got too much time on their hands. They got too much idle time on their hands. Time on my hand. Since you've been away, boy, I ain't got no plans. No. That's what the problem is. I told my mom, I said, Mama, if these people had a job, of course, I'm not going to get into specifics. But I was telling her, like, Mom, these people had a job, they had something to occupy their mind with and their time with. They wouldn't be doing all of this. She's like, Auntie, you so crazy. And I remember my mom, because you know me and my mom we worked in different occupations. We had different occupations. And so my mom would call me. She was like, Auntie, do you know anybody who needs a job? I'm like, girl, I try not to. She's like, boy, you was stupid. I'm like, Mama, I try so hard. I try my damnedest not to know people who need a job. Let me tell you, some people who ain't got no job, they have so much time in their hands to do stupid shit. Yes, they do. And from my experience, that piece of wisdom has not failed me yet. People who got too much time on their hands do too much stupid shit. Or if you ask my dad, silly shit. People who got too much time on their hands do too much silly shit. Stupid shit. And I was like, and so I told Uncle Chad, I try not to know people who need a job, because those who need a job, that need some money, they got time on their hands, therefore they into silly shit. So I think, I know. Well, it can. I'm sorry. It is so good. The Chipotle queso is so good. But from my understanding, if you have your time occupied with stuff, you ain't got time for the goofy shit. Let me. I don't even know how to back this up. Well, I don't know where to start. Let me say that. I don't know where to start when it comes to understanding the logic of what I'm talking about. Let me tell y'all something. When it comes to, okay, let me start with this. Us nowadays, when it comes to people nowadays, we have the privilege to confront and comprehend depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. Let me try to get really serious with y'all right quick. The kids or the people who are growing up, like people in their 20s and 30s, now we have the privilege to confront and to handle different types of what's the word I'm looking for? We're able to deal with, basically, we're able to deal with some stuff that our ancestors were not able to deal with. I hope that's making sense to y'all. People in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, and in their teens, we have such a privilege to where we can deal with some stuff, some mental stuff that we were not able to deal with 50, 60 years ago. What am I talking about? Let me tell y'all something. When it comes to gay rights, when it comes to or when it comes to equality of black people, when it comes to police reform, all the stuff, abortions, like everything that you can think of what we're dealing with now, we weren't able to deal with that years ago or decades ago or generations ago. And let me tell you why. Because years ago or generations ago, the priorities were different. Back then, it was more of a survival kind of thing. Let me do what I need to do so that I can survive. And so now previous generations have paved the way for us to now, okay, we know what it is. And so now we're able to deal with some stuff that we weren't able to deal with. Prime example. Have y'all ever watched the movie? What's the movie? The movie with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis. It was Hidden Fences. Dealing with that movie. When you see the scene where Denzel is talking to Viola Davis, Denzel's character is talking to Viola's character, and Denzel's character is going through this whole spiel about, this is what I had to deal with. This is what I've been dealing with. And I wanted something new. And then Viola Davis character is like, well, I've been right there. I've been right there with you, Troy. Snot bubbles going down her nose and stuff. That breakthrough is basically, that breakthrough was about someone who is, well, not someone, but people. Because there were a couple. That mental breakthrough had something to do with people who really weren't able to do it to begin with. Like they weren't able to deal with what they were going through to begin with, and now they're able to deal with. And then that movie, Fences. It wasn't Hidden Fences. I'm getting it confused with Hidden Figures, and I'm so sorry. But the movie Fences, when you talk about Denzel Washington's character, he had a lot to deal with, but he wasn't able to deal with it because at first it was, let me make a living for my wife and for my kids and whatever. And then with his son coming up, that's when he was able to actually face some of the stuff that he had to deal with. Because if you haven't seen Fences and you don't know the character background of Denzel Washington's character, if you don't know the background of it, Denzel Washington's character had to deal with his father being romantically involved with someone he wanted to be romantically involved with, if I'm not mistaken. And it was so much stuff that men in the 50s and 60s had to deal with. They weren't able to talk about and weren't able to deal with. But because he had a newer generation coming up after him, that's when, shit had kind of hit the fan, and he had to confront it. He had to deal with those type of things. And I think that's what our problem is now. Not necessarily the problem, but that's what we're dealing with now. The new generation, and then you got, the people that are in between. Kind of like people who were born in like the 70s, between the 90s. Like the in-between kind of area. You have those people now, they're being able or being privy to some of the stuff like the mental anguish that they put on the back burner. That big old pot that they put in the back burner now now you have the time to put it up to the front, and now you got all the stuff dealing with. But the thing I wanted to talk about was the kids that we're dealing with now. The millennials or the Generation X or whatever, people born really after 1985. Really those people. Those people are dealing with some stuff that they really couldn't, that generations before them really couldn't deal with. And so what is the solution to all of that? The solution is activities. The solution is activities. What do I mean by that? Let me tell you something. When I was growing up, Back in my day. I'm sorry, Sam. Calm down. When I was growing up, it's not that my parents or it's not that my parents had me in so many activities to where I couldn't deal with emotions. It was that I had a good balance between activites and alone time. Some of these kids now don't have that. Some of these kids that are, that's in the world today, they have so much time by themselves. They don't know how to deal with it. I hope I'm making sense to somebody out there. Today's kids got so much time by themselves. They on their phones, on their beepers, on their pages, on their two-ways. That's a joke. But for real deal, Holyfield, you got too many kids that have so much time by themselves. They alone with their phones. You don't know what the hell they watching, what the hell was going on with them. They so caught up between them and their hands. They have nothing to occupy their mind. They have no good balance between them. When I was growing up, I grew up in the church. Okay. When I say I grew up in the church, it was Wednesday was Bible study. Saturday was choir rehearsal because I was in the choir and I was in the youth choir. And then Sunday was church, and then Sunday's church day lasted all day. Monday and Tuesday was getting ready for the week, and I had to iron my clothes and iron my grandmother's clothes. Me and my brother used to iron our grandmother's clothes. We used to iron her scrubs for her, because when she went to work, we used to iron her scrubs, so she had to go to work. Saturday was cleanup day. We had to clean the whole house, and we would have to go outside. And then, hell, it only left us Thursday and Friday. Thursday and Friday was really like homework and we were occupied with ourselves. We were outside. Let me tell you something. We had so much going on because we didn't have any phones. It wasn't until I was a teenager when we actually got a computer in the house. And then it wasn't until I was a teenager to where I actually had a phone. Today's kids don't have that kind of, I don't want to call it discipline, but they don't have that kind of upbringing where, when you coming up to where you were teenagers, like, everything you got to do is us. Okay? We all got to sit in the living room and watch TV. Or you got to watch what the adults watch. What really wasn't no going into your own room and watching your own TV. It wasn't none of that. And then, let me tell you, so after we got out of school, it was do your homework, and then your ass need to be outside doing something. Playing basketball, touch football, flag football, playing soccer, going swimming. And then, when I got older, playing tennis, you had to be outside doing something. Girl, I used to look like I was Chinese. I used to be so light-skinned, I looked like I was Asian. Okay? Mama was like, when you came out, I thought they switched the babies. Then my grandma was like, yeah, hopefully he'll darken up later on. That's how light I was. That's how light I was. Then it wasn't until I got older, we had to be outside. The only punishment we had was you couldn't go outside. You had to stay in the house and do nothing. That was the punishment we had. We got in trouble for going outside. These kids don't even go outside no more. And then when they're talking about it takes a village to raise a child, that was so true back in the day, because back then your child was outside and the people who lived in the neighborhood was watching your kid. They don't even have that anymore. Kids are in the house on their phone, on their tablets, on their iPhone, on their iTablets, watching TV all day, every day. Kids don't go outside like they used to. So now they stuck in the house all day. It ain't even no village. You got people in foreign lands teaching your kids now. And then they teaching them just something that's just so wild and so buck crazy. You don't know what's going on. I remember when I was growing up, the worst thing that happened to me when I was a kid was someone who was somebody who was older and was a teenager. He had the dirty magazines and he was showing us what was in the dirty magazines. In the Playboy magazines. Shall I tell you, that's how old I feel sometimes. That's how old I feel sometimes. I can remember when pornography was just in magazines. That's how old I feel sometimes. But let me tell you something. They're not worried about that no more. Kids can send each other pornography items or articles over the phone. Like you not knowing nothing. You not figuring out nothing. And I think that, let me tell you something. When I was growing up, we had so many activities outside of the house, outside of the phones. We had so much going on outside the world to where we couldn't just be there just on our phones, listening to stuff, and then acting upon that stuff. We didn't have any of that. When they say idle hands are the devil workshop, that is true today. Okay? Kids are not occupied enough to where you can actually distract them. Give them the old razzle dazzle. Like you don't even have any of that anymore because they literally got the whole world in their hands. They can learn anything and everything, and you won't even know it. But I think so. To me, the solution is if you want to stop all the foolishness, you want to stop all the gun violence and all that stuff. You have to get your child outside. Get them off their phones. Get them off their phones. And I know it sounds like it sounds like something an old person would say, but let me tell you, it's the truth. It is the truth, Ruth. Okay? You have to get your child off their phones. Go outside. Go outside and do something. Let me tell you something. Because on their phone, they can find anything and everything. And then once they find something, they'll stick to it. And then the way the algorithm works, they'll find any goddamn thing that actually lines up with the first thing they watch. But if you actually raise your child in a neighborhood to where they're going outside and meet new people, you will find everybody thinks the same damn way. You'll find out everybody's on the same page. And that's not even a bad thing. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody's like, well, don't go over there because it's bad over there. You got people, I'm watching you because I know your mama. You got people like, you got a lot of people, but yet they all are on the same damn page. They all want their neighborhoods to be safe. They all want the kids to be safe. Every once in a while you get an uncle no touch, but that's beyond the point. Everybody in the neighborhood is on the same page. They don't want no trouble. They don't want no trouble. That's it. And so when you live in a neighborhood where you know everybody be like, we don't want no trouble. Don't you start no shit. Won't be no shit. Your kids will fall in line with that. But when they on their phones, they'll learn any and everything. But y'all not hearing me. Y'all not hearing me. Y'all not understanding what the hell I'm talking about. So I'm finna go. we're gonna do a for show, a for real Pick a Struggle show tomorrow. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. I'm finna go and be up out of here. And I will catch y'all later. All right?